Month. This is my cheat sheet for Thursday, August 25th. Obviously, all the news is about Steve Jobs. What does this really mean? That he wants to be president of the board? I mean, the board pretty much went ahead and made this instant. Tim Cook, who has been the chief operating officer, is the new day-to-day CEO of Apple. Well, in reality, nothing changes today over yesterday. In fact, Tim Cook has basically been running the show the entire year. You know, Steve Jobs has basically been on leave because of his health conditions for the better part of this year. The problem with Steve Jobs taking a lesser role is somewhat similar to what we saw with Bill Gates when he stepped down from day-to-day operations at Microsoft. When was the last time that Microsoft developed a product that just had us all speechless, that revolutionized the computer industry, that made a huge impact in the rest of the world? I mean, sure, they have good products that have great market share still, but slowly but surely, other companies have been able to eat into their technology. The concern for Apple going forward is not that they won't operate well. Tim Cook is one of the most brilliant operators in the world, and probably the best operator of any technology company that we've ever seen. He's been operating day-to-day with Apple for about 10, 11 years now. In fact, that was Apple's real problem before he came to the company from Hewlett-Packard and Compaq. Apple wasn't a very good operator, but they had brilliant ideas. And that is the real issue here with Apple going forward. Today, things are fine. A year from now, things will be fine. The question begins in future product launches. Steve Jobs is brilliant. Simply put, there's never been another person over the last 20 years to have more brilliant technology-driven ideas than Steve Jobs. Now, he's not an engineer. He didn't know how to build all these things. They have wonderful engineers at Apple. They have a great operator in Tim Cook. The question is, as time rolls along, just as Microsoft was never the same after Bill Gates stepped away from day-to-day innovation, who's going to be that brilliant person that replaces the brilliance of the ideas that Steve Jobs has? He's a one-of-a-kind individual. That can't be replaced. And that remains to be seen. What Apple will look like in 2, 3, 4 years. Will they become the next Microsoft, to where other companies who have good ideas slowly but surely eat away at what Apple has grown? But that all remains to be seen. For today, they'll still be making great products. All right, so CBO came out with a couple of numbers yesterday. They're getting in the news, but what does it really mean? Here's the thing. The CBO is projecting over 8% unemployment through 2014. Now, obviously, that's bad news. That's bad news all the way around. I don't think anybody wins in that scenario, not the least of which are a lot of the politicians in Washington, especially the president. Here's the problem. Even if you take the CBO's estimates at their word, a lot has to happen. And a lot has to improve in the economy in the short term for it to happen. You see, the CBO made those estimates with above 8% unemployment through 2014 at a minimum, based upon 2.3% growth this year and 2.7% growth next year. So those are optimistic numbers, because I probably don't have to point out to you, we're at about 1.5% growth so far in 2011. Actually, we're right around 1%. And I don't know an economist on Wall Street that has anything around 2.7 or higher right now for next year. In other words, the realistic situation is we could be staring at unemployment north of 9% through 2014. Obviously, you need to have yourself best positioned within your company, within your industry, because it is going to be a very difficult labor market for a minimum of the next 3 years. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news. Just had to shed a little reality on that one. Speaking of reality, this isn't good news either. And this is also consistent with other surveys we've seen recently, that 1 in 10 employers plan on dropping health care coverage to their employees by 2014. If you're going, hold on, I thought that health care reform meant, among other things, that you had to have insurance and that companies above a certain level would have to offer insurance. There's a yeah but there. And the yeah but is, many employers are taking a look at the rising cost of health care, which is growing at greater than 10% per year on average. And they're going, there's no way we can continue to afford to offer health care coverage to our employees. So we're going to pay the penalty. Yeah, see, there's a penalty, minimum $2,500 per employee, that companies would have to pay if they decide not to offer you health care coverage. It's kind of unfortunate, and I think sad all the way around, that they take a look at that and go, well, that might be what we need to do to have a viable company going forward. Pay the fine, pay the penalty, rather than offer health care coverage. Obviously, something significant needs to happen with healthcare reform, or else the healthcare coverage situation in this country is only going to get systemically worse over the next couple of years. You know this is going to be a huge hot-button campaign issue over the next year. Real quick, Verizon's looking to push mobile payments on small businesses and medium-sized businesses. The reason? They want to drive more smartphone sales. They know that if they convert more businesses to accepting mobile payments, that you, in turn, will feel more obliged and more likely to engage in mobile payments, which means you need to buy a smartphone. And they're hoping it'll be from them. And also, Facebook hit 1 trillion page views. 1 trillion page views! And they're nearly at 1 billion visitors. They have 870 million unique users and growing right now. And if you have an electric car and you can't find a service station, it's okay. If you run out of power on the side of the road, AAA might be there to help. They have a new fleet of electric charging vehicles that will offer immediate roadside assistance. So, you at least might be able to count on them, at least in select cities coming up very soon. And this one is on a personal note. It's a little sad for me. The end of an era. Mazda has decided that the 2011 RX-8 is the end of the line. They are not going to produce a 2012 RX-8. So if you want one, go buy one. That what you see in the showroom floors is all that is going to be left, the Mazda RX-8. That's the cheat sheet for today. See you tomorrow.